Thanks for joining us today. Today, we are going to decode trade references. I'm going to show you a really cool way to take accounts that you already have that aren't reporting on your business credit reports and get them added to your business credit reports so credit issuers, lenders will see them, and it will make you more lendable, help you get more money at better terms, including lower interest rates. So by the end of this training, you're going to understand exactly what trade references are, how they work, how to get them added to your credit reports, and everything they can do for you to help make you more lendable and, again, help you get the most money at the absolute best terms. So look, about 99% of credit reports are really objective, right? There's a lot of numbers, there's public records. They actually come in and reflect the amount of time that you pay your bills, whether you pay it on time or late, how late you pay, how early you pay. So a lot of those things are not things that you can necessarily control, okay? We look at UCC liens that show that you've got outstanding debts. We've got public records and lawsuits and all these kind of things that show on there. So a lot of these things you can't really fix unless there's an error, unless there's something inaccurate that you can get that account really removed, okay? But there's no real way to get credit providers and vendors to consider circumstances or anything else. Now, in commercial credit reports, a lot of people don't know that you can actually add statements. You can add statements with Experian, Equifax, and D&B. You can add comments. You can add statements to your commercial credit reports. But a lot of it outside of that, you can't do anything. Like the credit report just reflects how you pay your bills and how many employees you have and the financial health of your company and all this objective data that you can't necessarily control. But trade references, well, that is a way you can control it. It is a way that you can actually add accounts you want to add to your business credit reports, and you can actually kind of control the quality of your credit reports by having these preferred accounts that you know you pay as agreed, that credit issuers and lenders can't see now, actually be added where you actually can get credit for it. So this is why I love trade references, because I'm very big in teaching you how to control your own credit. Because if you control your own consumer and commercial credit, that's what will always get you approvals versus denials. It's what will always get you the most money. It's what will always get you the most money at the absolute best terms. But here's what's interesting. They're optional. You can do them or not do them. And most people don't even know how to add trade references. They don't even know what trade references are. So you can have a good business credit profile with no trade references whatsoever, but these good references make it easier to build good business credit. Look, the problem we have when we build business credit is that 97% of trade vendors don't report the credit that you have to the business credit reporting agencies. We see this all the time. We see businesses that do $5 million, $10 million plus in sales that are coming to us in desperation because they got denied for a loan. They got denied for a credit line. And the reason they got denied is that their business credit quality is bad. And the reason is because they haven't built it. They haven't been intentional in building their credit. They think they have credit with all these people that they pay bills to, only to find out that none of these people that they're paying bills to actually report the credit to the actual credit reporting agencies, okay? So what are trade references? Well, per Dun & Bradstreet, a trade reference is a source that supplies past payment experiences between a business and a vendor. So some trade references automatically provide payment information on all their experiences in the form of trade tape. Other trade references are submitted manually to D&B through Credit Builder products. So when we talk about trade references, think of it like this. A lot of the accounts on your business credit report are what are called payment experiences. These are the reporting of a credit of an account to Dun & Bradstreet in this example, okay, by the actual credit issuer. So Chase, Bank of America, Staples, which is backed by Citi. You get a credit card with them, you pay the bill as agreed, they take your payment, they report the payment to the business credit reporting agencies. But then there's also these trade references that you can submit. So you could be paying people monthly, on time, early. These would be fantastic accounts to have on your business credit reports, but those credit issuers aren't reporting the credit to the credit bureaus. They're one of the 97% of credit issuers that's not reporting the credit. So you'd like to get credit for that. You'd like other lenders and credit issuers to see you're paying that stuff as agreed, but it's not happening because the credit issuer actually isn't reporting the account to the business credit reporting agencies. So what trade references allow you to do is take those accounts that aren't being added and take a portion of them and add them to your commercial credit reports. So essentially, the referrer vouches for the business. The credit issuer is saying, hey, yeah, this person pays us. They pay us as agreed, okay? And then you get that added to your D&B report, of course, in case it's negative. If it's negative, you don't want to have it added because that can actually hurt your business credit reports. But if you have long-standing or good paid-as-agreed accounts, you want to add them because that helps lenders and credit issuers make better decisions, and it makes them make decisions more favorable to you, the more positive accounts that you have in your business credit reports. So business trade references are composed of 7 different variables per D&B. We've got the reporting date or as of date. So where the account is as of the date it was reported. We have the manner of payment, okay, how the account is due to be paid. Is it a revolving account? Is it a net 30 type of account where you have 30 days to pay the account? Rolling 12-month high credit, the highest amount of credit used over the next 12 months, very important. If you pull your commercial credit reports, you will not see a limit on your credit report for your credit accounts. You will see the highest amount of credit used. So very important, when you look at your business credit reports, look for that. You're not going to see the limits on your accounts. You're going to see the highest amount of credit you've used. This is very important when you build business credit because you want to use the accounts that you actually get that report, because the higher amount that credit issuers see that you're using, the higher the recommendation of credit is from the credit bureaus. So if you want to get high limit credit cards, then you need to show that you're using the limits that you have on your existing credit cards. So I get this question a lot. People say, hey, in order to get Visa card, MasterCard, auto financing, you need to show that at least one account on your business credit report has a $10,000 limit or higher. And a lot of people ask me, how do I get $10,000 limit or higher? And the answer is very simple. You use the credit that you have. If you have 5 accounts reporting to D&B, and the most you've used in the last 12 months is $100 on those credit cards, nobody's going to give you a $10,000 credit limit when they only see that you're spending $100 max in a month. But if you're getting credit cards and you're spending $5,000 and $8,000 and $9,000 a month, well, then people will give you $10,000 limits because they know you're going to use the limits. So if you want high limits, you have to show that you're going to use the limits that you're given. And that's why this highest amount of credit used in the last 12 months is so important. And it's why it's on your report and not your limits. Because credit issuers look at this to determine how much money to give you, and the credit bureaus look at this to determine how much they recommend you should be given. It's very important that you use the credit that you actually have. Okay, that's why trade references can help. Because if you're using and paying bills as agreed that aren't on your credit report, we need those to hit the credit report so they're calculated into your score, and other credit issuers can see that you are using accounts, just ones that aren't typically reported to the reporting agencies. So the current amount that you owe on the account, the current total past due, if there is some, the selling terms, okay, and the date of last sale. So the date of last activity, basically, or last time that they sold you a product. So suppliers can submit positive or negative trade references to D&B. So again, we're not talking necessarily here about stuff that's supplied by the actual suppliers. We're not talking about credit that's actually supplied to the bureaus from credit issuers. We're talking about credit that is being paid by you, and then you get it added. So more than likely, you're not going to add negative accounts to your business credit report. That makes no sense. You're only going to add positive accounts, but just know credit issuers, suppliers, if you're paying them not as agreed, they can report that. They can report your negative payments and not your positive payments. So acceptable payment experiences that D&B can verify may impact the business credit scores and ratings. It will. Okay, that's why trade references will be calculated into your credit score. So let's look at this. This is actually a positive and it's a negative. First of all, trade references are most common with D&B. You can add statements on your Experian and Equifax commercial credit reports, but you really can't add trade references. And when D&B took this step to create a product that they could charge you money to take accounts you have and add it to your credit reports, and those accounts calculate into your Paydex score, it really caused a pretty bad feedback, or a lot of bad feedback from credit issuers. A lot of credit issuers like Citi and all these guys that underwrite these credit cards stopped relying on D&B data. They started relying on Experian data. So there's something else that's important for you to know. When it comes time to getting credit cards, a Visa card, a MasterCard, a Home Depot, a Lowe's, a lot of those credit issuers are looking at your Experian credit reports. You need to build your Experian credit reports, even if you're adding these trade references to D&B, because once D&B started giving you the ability to kind of manipulate or control your own credit report with adding of trade references, a lot of revolving credit card issuers started using Equifax and Experian instead. So 2 important notes there. 1, a lot of revolving credit looks at Experian and Equifax, not D&B. Why you need to still build Experian D&B, it's very important. And 2, now you know why they look at Experian and Equifax, because D&B took this step, because they gave you some kind of control over your own credit score, okay? And I like Epic. Epic Guy says, oh, fire. Yes, I'm glad that you see that we're on fire right now because we are killing it with information. Okay, so as a matter of fact, if you're getting value from this, like the video. Please love the video. It helps me tell the actual social channels that this content's valuable. It really means a lot to me. So how can trade references help a business? Well, trade references are basically a means of demonstrating a pattern of responsibility financially, right? A manually submitted trade reference can affect business credit scores because that positive account is now calculated into your overall Paydex score. And a trade reference is extra information which can clarify any irregularities or confusion in a business credit profile, and it gives you more positive accounts which calculate into your overall score. So if we look at Paydex, Paydex score is the #1 score used in the commercial world. It's issued by Dun & Bradstreet. It literally depicts how you pay your bills. So if your score is 80, you pay your bills on time. If it's 90, you pay your bills on average early. If it's 70, you pay your bills on average 30 days late. Your score literally reflects how early, late, or timely you pay those bills. So the more accounts we add that show positive payments, the higher the Paydex score is going to be. It's one of the reasons that these trade references are so important. So month-to-month payment histories represent an accurate picture of a business's true financial viability. Okay, that's why so many people use the Paydex score. So even companies with good cash flow may be risk takers, and again, we're more risky borrowers for suppliers. It's why suppliers look at the business credit reports. Okay, struggling companies wanting to maintain a prime credit rating may get good at prioritizing debt and supplier payments. So companies that are smart are paying bills that show on their business credit reports before they pay any other kind of bills. Okay, that makes sense. So using cash flow to pay bank loans and larger suppliers while putting off smaller businesses can create a misleading credit profile. So this is why, again, how you pay all of your overall bills matters, because really what's on your business credit report is only a limited scope of how you actually handle your finances, especially since 97% of people you may pay don't even report those payments to the business credit reporting agencies. So there's a lot of accounts that D&B won't report on your business credit reports. And here's why this is important. If you're going to pay for D&B's credit builder, which is like $150 a month or $1,500 a year roughly, okay, you can get discounts, etc. You need to know what accounts you can add and what accounts you can't add. Because there's a lot of accounts you may have that you can't add, and you need to know that before you get involved with them. This is in the very small print on their website, so let's bring it into the big print so you know. So businesses legally related to your company. So for example, if you own a business and you own another business, well, then you can't be having that business report positive credit history because they're related to you. Like you can't have other businesses you own or in your own circle basically report. That makes sense. Banks, credit card companies, and landlords, that's problematic. So you can't add any bank credit. You can't add any other credit cards that aren't reported. You can't add landlords. You can't add lease payments and rent payments. So think about this, because there's a lot of stuff you may want to add that you can't add, and that will change your decision on whether to go and pay them to add trade references or they won't. So let's say you have a credit card with Bank of America that doesn't report. Very common. Chase, Bank of America, Citi. They have credit cards that do report. They have credit cards that don't report. So you can't take one of those credit cards that doesn't report now and get it added. D&B is not going to let you do that. D&B is also not going to allow foreign companies to report. Companies that have requested anonymity, I can't pronounce it, but you know what I'm saying. Businesses that have been proven untrustworthy, they are not allowed to be added. Companies without a business credit profile of their own don't have any credit established with D&B. D&B won't let any of those companies actually be used as trade references to get added. Now, there are plenty of accounts that they will allow. Accountants, CPA, payroll services, vehicle equipment leasing agents, cleaning services, computer repair companies, construction remodeling firms, subcontractors that you paid. So this was interesting when I got on the phone call with D&B about trade references, because a lot of people may think that what they add to their business credit report are accounts that you pay monthly, pay regularly. But you can add a lot of accounts to D&B that you've only paid once. They don't have to be accounts that you pay regularly. So let's look at remodeling firms. Let's say that you did a remodel of your office. They did a good job and you paid them. Well, you could take those payments and add them even though it was only one payment. Computer repair. That's not something you regularly have done every month. Your computers may crash. You go to pay for it to be fixed. You can have that one-time payment of fixing those computers added. So that's something a lot of people don't understand about trade references. It's not stuff you're paying regularly or consistently that can only be added. You can add plenty of stuff, as you're seeing here, that you made a one-time payment of and you want to have added. So if you paid a bill for $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, get that thing added. Show everybody that you just paid a $5,000 bill, a $10,000 bill. There's a lot of those people you're paying regularly that don't report your payments, that you're making one-time payments on. Those type of accounts can be added. Now, D&B also accepts them from direct mail, freight, trucking, local delivery services, furniture stores, attorneys, graphic design companies, and printing services. So again, now we're expanding the way that you're thinking about this. It's not stuff you pay every month. It can be any service that you pay even one payment to. Now, I'm not going to go to a design company but design my logo for $200 and get them added. It's a $200 account. It makes no sense. But if I just had somebody do a redesign of my website that cost me $5,000 or $10,000, you know I'm going to add that account because that's a $5,000, $10,000 trade line I'm adding to my business credit report. If I go buy $20,000 worth of office furniture, I'm going to get that added to my business credit reports. So think of it like that. Stuff that you're paying even once, especially higher payment amounts, is worth considering adding to your D&B report. Now, they'll also accept it from marketing companies, advertising firms, PO boxes, uniform suppliers, utility or gas companies, warehouse rentals, and wholesalers. Now, they won't add a lot of other kind of utilities. You don't see phone service on here. You don't see electric on here. Most utilities cannot be added, okay? But a lot of these other accounts that we've mentioned can be. Now, they all have to go through a product that D&B calls their credit builder. And this is because D&B is going to verify your payment experience with that vendor. So I just told you the two biggest objections people have in using D&B's credit builder. And I shouldn't even say objections. I should say complaints. People that buy D&B's credit builder have two common complaints. One, there's a lot of stuff I can't add that I'd like to add. They want to add lease payments, rent payments, mortgage payments. They want to add credit card payments, bank loans. That stuff can't be added. They're disappointed when they realize they can't. Now you know that up front. Second thing is that it actually creates an issue when they can't verify your payments. And this is the biggest frustration people have. When I submit an account over and I say, okay, I had my computer work done for $5,000. Here is the company that did it. I want to add them as a trade reference. D&B is going to call that company to verify what you said. Here's the problem. If D&B calls and can't get in touch with that company, from what I've seen with D&B and the biggest complaint people have, D&B doesn't try to call them again. You have to restart the process of getting D&B to verify that account again. It requires time on the phone, it requires electronic submission of forms. There's work involved with getting them to go through and verify. So you have to have a company that's able to receive the phone call verification from D&B. And if you're smart on how you do this, you find the person or the people that are the most accessible for D&B to do this with. So if I'm coming in and I'm saying, hey, this company, I spent $5,000 to fix my computers, I'm going to go to that company and say, I want to add this payment as my trade reference to my D&B credit report. Like, can I get a number that's verifiable? Like, not just your office number, but can I get your cell number as well? Give them as many phone numbers and way to contact that company as possible. Because if they strike out first attempt and can't make contact, they're typically not going to try again unless you restart the process of getting them to actually add that trade reference. So a D&B concierge manager can also help with the submitting of trade references, and that's something that will come when you actually do sign up for Credit Builder. But again, don't forget, one of the biggest problems with Credit Builder is that they can't get in touch first time with trying to contact the company you're trying to get added. Now, D&B will try to reach the referrer. If they cannot, after a reasonable amount of time, they will not accept the trade reference. We just talked about that. They will also not accept a trade reference from a business which already reports to them. That makes sense. If the account's already reporting, they're not going to let that account be added as a trade reference. The theory here is that D&B already knows about the company. They already know about your payments, so you're not going to be able to kind of double dip and get it added again. Okay, so lenders and suppliers generally ask either by phone or in writing how long an account can be open. They also want to know the credit or purchasing limit on that account, and they want to know how many times that account has been paid late. So creditors value customers with long-standing payment histories, and they often reserve the best deals for those that have that. Why I'm telling you this is because of this. Because you can't selectively choose whether they report positive or negative or both. It doesn't work that way. If anybody wants to report to D&B, Equifax, and Experian, they have to agree to report all of their payments timely or not. So that means if you go to somebody that you paid 12 months as agreed and 1 month not as agreed, you can't go to them and say, hey, D&B is going to verify, only tell them about my 12 months as agreed and not the 1 month I didn't pay as agreed. They can get in trouble for fraud if they do that. So you have to keep that in mind. You only want to add trade references where all of your payments were paid timely and positive, because if not, if you had any negative payments to that credit issuer, they're going to be required by D&B to report your negative payments as well as your positive payments. So many starter vendors require a number of trade references. They want to check them before they'll extend credit, because starter vendors are essential for building business credit, and they're the first step. So this is one way you can help build your business credit. Some vendors won't even give you credit unless you have some initially with D&B. So if you want and you don't mind paying the money to D&B for D&B's credit builder, well, for one, they're going to give you more detailed credit reports than you'll get from a place like us or NAV. But the second thing is that they also will help you add accounts to D&B, and that will help you get approved for some vendors that you typically can't get approved for as starter vendors, true starter, right off the bat. So there are some that will say, hey, look, we're not going to give you credit unless you have credit with D&B first. If you took this step first, those vendors would approve you. So again, it's not a bad pre-step to vendors, because it will make a lot more vendors approve you than will happen if you don't use this step. Okay, so can you use businesses as trade or use your business as trade reference? Absolutely. When deciding whether to offer better payment terms to your clientele, trade references help to show you which clients are a better risk. You may want to know which companies will pay you on time. So don't forget, I talk a lot about building your business credit to get access to money, but I don't talk very much at all. And I don't know why I don't. I need to talk about it more, of how you can use D&B's products to gauge other people that you pay. So let's never forget about that component of credit. Yes, you want to build credit with D&B so you can get access to credit cards, loans, credit lines more easily, right? Or easier. But you also can use D&B's tools to pull credit reports on other people you're going to pay, okay? Or that you're relying on to pay you, to make sure that their credit is sound as well. So you can use this to actually look at your customers and their ability to pay their bills on time. So let's use a Credit Suite as an example. We let our customers pay us over 7 or 9 months when they enroll to build business credit and financing with us, right? So if we want to take a deep look, we can pull their credit reports to see if they have a history of paying their bills on time or not. And if they don't pay their other bills on time, well, then we might not want to extend them credit. Now, we don't do that, okay? But a lot of companies, that's an example of how you can look at credit of other companies to make those kind of decisions. So it's good practice to check references even when an established customer starts to show signs of financial stress. A periodic check will kind of give you an idea of what's happening. So I saw this once on The Profit with Marcus Lemonis, where Marcus came in and said, there's some stuff this guy's telling me that doesn't make any sense. So he pulled the guy's business credit report, found out the guy was lying, and he went into the guy and said, dude, I pulled your credit report. You're not telling me the truth. What's really going on? And the guy spilled the beans about all this debt that he had and all these people he was behind with. I'll never forget it. It was this guy that owned this massive sporting facility, and then he had all this crazy stuff as part of that under that roof. And Marcus decided not to invest in the guy because of stuff he found on the guy's business credit report. And so it was stuff that was a warning sign that tipped him off, that helped him go get the business credit report. Remember, you can pull a credit report on any company you want to. You can go to D&B, Equifax, and Experian and pull a credit report. You can even buy them in bulk to look at any of your potential customers to make sure that they have a history of paying their bills. And they can also use trade references to add to their credit reports as well. So some things to consider. Now try asking for more trade references than expected. It's normal practice to ask for 3 trade references on a credit application. This means that often the average customer looking for credit presents only 3 of their best trade references. Okay, but it can serve a subtle way of publishing the applicant to look for and supply 1 or 2 for more suppliers. So look, what I'm saying here is that, in my advice is that if you want to build business credit quickly, always get more vendors than you need. Apply for more than you need, because some report quarterly and some report monthly. And so if you report more, get more than you need. If you need 5, apply for 7 or 10, because then you have a better chance of more of them reporting faster, and it helps expedite the process. What I'm saying here is exactly the same with trade references. Try to give more to D&B than you really want to show on your report, in case they don't accept some, in case they can't verify some. That way you'll still end up with what you want. So if you want to add 5 trade references, then give them 7 or 10. And that way it gives you a better chance of getting 5. In worst case scenario, you end up with 7 or 10, which only helps you there to begin with. Okay, so find out if the reference provided is a primary or secondary supplier to the applicant. So if you see trade references on a business credit report, you might want to ask these questions. Okay, we often give preferential treatment to primary suppliers on which our business depends. So you want to ask them that. Because if you say, hey, I see you have these 3 trade references on your credit report, are these primary or secondary suppliers? And they say secondary, well, that's a good thing. Because if they're paying their secondary suppliers on time, then you know they're probably paying a lot of their bills on time. But if they're all primary suppliers, then it has to beg the question, are they paying secondary suppliers on time? So it's just a little something to consider if you see trade references on one of your clients' credit reports and you're using that credit report to determine if you should issue them credit or not. So check industry and local references. Ask for at least 1 reference from your industry. Okay, it will help to see if you've abandoned a competitor in favor of you and if that's good news or not. So again, go in and ask for references within your industry as well as other services and products that you've used. So it tells people that you've got this wide diversity of people that you're actually paying as agreed, even if they don't naturally report to your credit report. So if you're actually doing this for an applicant, we'll check the applicant's high and low credit for the last 12 months to see how much they're actually using. The amount given as high credit to the applicant shows the exposure and confidence of the supplier and the other credit issuers that are giving them that credit. And this figures can also be used to judge and set your own limit. So again, look at that on the credit report. See how much they're using. It'll tell you how much other people trust them, and it'll also give you an idea of how much you should give them. So you see how that works? This is exactly why you need to use trade references and why you need to build your business credit report, because that's the mentality that other people have that are looking at your credit report. They're looking to see how much confidence others have had based on how much credit you're being given and how much you're using. And it also gives them an idea of how much credit they should give you. That's why the credit bureaus look at this factor so much to determine how much they recommend credit you should be given. Chili, hey, thanks for tuning in for Facebook. I appreciate it. Okay, so some things to think about. So dig to the next level of trade references. When speaking to a trade reference, try finding out if the trade reference provides to that company by how the trade reference that provided to that company by the applicant. That is, at the time the applicant filled out an application for credit with the company we're talking to. So then call these references. So it doesn't hurt you to call the references on a credit report if you're using the business credit report to determine the worthiness of you issuing credit to somebody else. So check the terms the trade reference gave them. See what kind of terms they give them. Maybe the reference provides special terms like 2% off if they get an early payment. Does the applicant use that discount? So this gives you an idea. How early is the applicant paying the bill? Is there an incentive? And it also gives you an idea to provide that same kind of incentive to somebody so they have a better chance of paying you as well. So in recap, trade references are the only truly subjective part of a business credit report. It's the only thing you can control and really add besides these consumer statements that don't calculate into your score. They're often necessary to open some kind of vendor accounts. So you can either build business credit naturally using other vendors to get those vendor accounts, or add trade references to get those vendor accounts. But some vendors you just can't get unless you actually get started with D&B first and have some accounts reporting to them first. Now, there are limits as to which businesses can use for trade references. Remember, we talked about a lot of accounts that you can't add, and we talked about the ones you can add. And you really want to obviously focus on adding positive payments. Don't add any that you've ever had any negative payments with, because those negative payments will show in your business credit report as well. It's also, don't forget, a good way to check what your clientele is doing. If you want to issue credit to somebody else, well, then trade references give you a way of actually looking to see how much credit you should give them, what kind of terms you should give them. Okay, so it works both ways. It's a great way to build your own business credit to become more lendable. It's also a great way for you to be able to look into other companies you may extend credit to, something we oftentimes don't talk about when it comes to business credit building. So if you'd like to learn more, give us a call, send us an email, info@creditsuite.com, 877-600-2487. If you got value from this, hit that like button. Please hit the like and love button, and then subscribe. If you subscribe on YouTube, click the bell beside the subscribe button and click all to be notified when we go live. And you can actually catch us live weekly, Tuesday, Thursday at 1 o'clock, or 11 o'clock on Wednesday, all Eastern time. You can find us live on Facebook, find us live on YouTube. You can find us live on LinkedIn and Periscope. And if you're on our channels, you can engage with comments, and in real time, I'll be able to engage with you as well. We stream to a lot of other people's groups, a lot of other people's pages, because our content's so valuable that they want their audience to see it as well. But it's our platforms where you can comment, engage. And don't forget our other social channels. They're all at the top right of our website, creditsuite.com, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, where we have tons of other content you can access. And we even have a podcast with over 350,000 downloads. So we release an episode every day of the week, I think now, but you can actually listen on the go. So make sure you check out those two references as well. So tomorrow we're diving into more cool ways to get funding for your business. But now you know everything you need to know about adding trade references to your business credit report. You can do it through what's called D&B's Credit Builder. You can find that right on their website. And don't forget, with us, you get a free business credit funding consultation when you do give us a call. We will help you get your business credit reports with D&B, Equifax, and Experian for free. We will go over those with you. We will give you tips and tactics to improve them. We have a fundability report that actually taps into the secret credit bureaus that the credit issuers use and lenders use that you don't see the information publicly front facing. You can get that to get your fundability in line to get the most money for your business. And on that call, we'll also determine the kind of funding you can qualify for right now. There's a lot of loans or credit lines you may be able to get right now, even as a startup. And on that consultation call, we go over that with you as well. It all happens on a free consultation by giving us a call at 877-600-2487. That's 877-600-2487. Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you on our next training where we talk about more cool ways to get credit and financing to grow